Okay, oh my God, it's actually unbelievable. SIS 20 Startup Impact Summit is now in full swing. And I have to say and take this moment that it's a very special moment for our team, for us, and arguably for everybody involved here in this ecosystem. This conference has now been in the planning for over a year. Originally, Start Me Up Hong Kong Festival should have taken place in February. And then given to COVID-19, we had to decide to postpone it to July. And only a few months back, we had to decide to bring it online. So arguably, we said it feels like organizing this conference for the third time. But as I always say, you do not learn resilience in a textbook. And isn't that exactly where we as startups thrive the best? This obviously could have never been possible without the amazing support from all our partners. And I once again want to stress the tremendous support from Invest Hong Kong and the entire Start Me Up Hong Kong team, but also from our network of over 500 partners locally, regionally, and globally, who have always believed in our mission behind Startup Impact Summit, not only to showcase impact driven by the ecosystem with the startups at the very center of it, but also to make impact, to further create change and innovation. So we already mentioned our gold sponsors, and I want to give a big shout out again to Christy from Schwartz, Binnersley and Associates. We also, just had Jardins with us here, and want to thank, for their tremendous support and running and kicking and powering Hack Asia. Once again, a big thank you here to our main stage sponsors, Visa. And I do want to call out a couple of other amazing partners and sponsors. Microsoft is our bronze sponsor. DBS is sponsoring the Industry Village. Stripe and Xero are sponsoring the Startup Service Marketplace. Wanted is our job fair co-host. AngelHub is our co-host of the Global Startup Competition. The Friedrich Neumann Foundation is our impact booster. We also have a dedicated co-working sponsor, The Desk here in Hong Kong. Impact Commons, thank you very much for being our impact campaigner, and Sustainable for being our sustainability sponsor. I said it definitely takes a village to organize such a huge conference as Startup Impact Summit. We have 15 different tracks. As Karen mentioned before, we have over 250 speakers coming from around the world, from all 5 continents, over 120 exhibitors, thousands of attendees right now joining us online, and startups from around the world. Yes, this year we have doubled the number of our tracks and more than doubled the number of attendees. And of course, we brought back some of our truly proven successful tracks from Startup Impact Summit last year. This year, we have added some more, and I will talk a little bit about what this actually encompasses for you. But I also want to highlight that this year we have put Startup Impact Summit consciously under the 17 UN SDG Sustainable Development Goal Framework. Really to highlight what startups, technology, and entrepreneurship is doing to help us tackle the most pressing problems and to help us all to improve our future. I really encourage you to stay on 24/7 over the next 2 days, and to not only listen in to the talks that are happening on main stage, on venture stage, on international and GBA stage. GBA stands for the Greater Bay Area. We by now have our very own Bay Area. and in the largest Bay Area in the world. But surely also tune into the pitching stage. The startups are always in the center of everything we do. On pitch stage, we are thrilled to have invited startups from around the world under the umbrella of Tech for Good, and to help them showcase the solutions that they are developing for everybody around the world. Check out, again, our proven successful track from last year, the services marketplace, where startups can connect with all the resources they need to grow and scale their business here in Asia and in the world. Check out our job fair to find a new job. This is the opportunity you turn your passion into your profession. And thanks again to Wanted for co-hosting this. Check out our industry village and our startup village. Again, you cannot run a tech conference without startups. Go to their virtual booths, talk with them, have them demonstrate their prototypes, their solution to you, and see how you can collaborate in the future with them. Now, when we had planned Startup Impact Summit for February, we said, you know what, already at that point in time, when we thought it was a physical event, we have to connect to the world. So we launched a very, very new initiative and track, which was the Global Startup Competition, the GSC. So at that time, in December, January, when we were still able to travel around the world, we went into 12 different countries physically, including Europe, UK, Belgium, Germany, France. We went to Israel, and we obviously covered amazing ecosystems here in Asia, be it Thailand, India, be it Korea, Indonesia, of course, Hong Kong. We went also to Shenzhen, and we really, really made sure that we open it up and run a virtual semi-final to actually be able to get over 500 startups apply from 40 different countries in the world. Now, you will see that we had to move the finals already into the March timing to ensure that the startups can win an opportunity to raise funds, but we invited them all back virtually online to the July edition. Now, again, talking about bringing back some really proven successful tracks from last year, one highlight was our Investor Masterclass, where we brought Jason Calacanis from Silicon Valley over here to Hong Kong, the most successful angel investor in the world. And I have to say, we are thrilled for Jason's loyalty, and he will be calling back in. So make sure you tune in tomorrow on main stage and hear me in a fireside chat with Jason. Now, you heard we also added a full-fledged online hackathon, but there are also several mini hacks going on at the same time. Now, make sure you go on the website, you check the 15 tracks. There is business matchmaking. There's an opportunity to become intimate with the media. So there are tons and tons of opportunities really there for you to connect to the ecosystem and to hack the ecosystem and get the most important resources for you out. Now, let me step back again and say, you know, technology is more than ever changing the way we work, live, and arguably conference. Now, after, you know, a first disappointment to postpone Startup Impact Summit, we say this is an amazing opportunity to bring the conference and the entire Start Me Up Hong Kong Festival online. And as we said at the beginning, to stream here not only in Hong Kong, but to the world and globally. Connecting now people seamlessly, and we have a virtual platform to do that, and we also have a very special conference app, Lark, that I hope you're all going to leverage. Lark is developed by ByteDance, which is obviously a little bit better known by the Power App TikTok. So I hope you're going to have fun. Just imagine you can put G Suite, WhatsApp, Slack, and Zoom into one Power App. This is what Lark is, and you will see you're going to love it. And the great thing is, I said, it's probably the first time we have a tech conference where you don't end up afterwards scanning over 200 business cards. You are already connected digitally during the 2 days, and keep that going. Now, I have told you the story about SIS 20. So let me stay actually a little bit with the storytelling and take this opportunity to tell you the story, our story, and the story about this amazing ecosystem here in Hong Kong. In 2013, with WHub, we set out with the mission on helping startups grow and scale by connecting them to all the resources they need to develop their business and to foster the growth of the entire ecosystem here, bringing Hong Kong into the top ranks of global startup ecosystem, exactly the place where it deserves to be. And with that mission, believing in startups driving innovation and economic growth, we also launched AngelHub, the sister company, Hong Kong's very first and still only SFC licensed equity crowdfunding platform for professional investors and growth stage startups scaling in Asia, solving the pain of time, access, and know-how in this daunting fundraising process, arguably for both, for startups and investors alike. And with that, democratizing access to startup investing as a very, very specific and distinct asset class. So that's us. And now let's talk about Hong Kong. So very often when we go out and we promote the opportunities that Hong Kong provides and help our startups scale overseas, I get the question, Karena, why Hong Kong? Isn't it very small? 7 million people. And you know what? This is exactly the reason why it's the perfect testing ground for startups. It is small, highly connected, and this is exactly what startups need. You are in search for a new product market fit. The one thing you need is market validation, and this is what you get instantly. And on top, we are so strategically positioned here. With this, you can easily scale your company into the rest of Asia. We are so strategically positioned with China to the north, Southeast Asia to the south, and arguably in a 5 hours flight radius from half of the world's population. And just from a supply point of view, we're sitting next to the Pearl River Delta, which is still, one of the manufacturing powerhouses of the world. I talked about the connectivity, and we have amazing infrastructure here in Hong Kong. IT infrastructure that exists, that is used, and that is leveraged. I invite you to check out our white papers on the Hong Kong startup ecosystem, where you can see some of these amazing numbers and stats. We have one of the highest speed connectivities when it comes to internet. We have one of the largest mobile and smartphone penetrations in the world. Companies come here to develop mobile first or even mobile only solutions. It's definitely easy and safe. It is praised in all rankings about the ease of doing business, be it in English or in Chinese. Strong IP protection, investor protection, and a strong rule of law. We have amazing talent here, and I'm not only talking about fintech and financial services, of course, with 75% of World's Bank here in Hong Kong, but in general, 5 of our universities are ranking in the top 100 globally. And we have international top renowned universities that are setting up shop here in Hong Kong, be it, for example, Chicago Booth, and we have Waverly from Polsky as well, giving us a great talk later on, MIT or TASPA Tsinghua University. So you really have one of the most amazing pools of talent here. And the list goes on. So even arguably having been maybe a little bit late to the game, I still remember 2015 was the first time the word startup made it into the budget declaration of the financial secretary. But since then, we have given birth to 9 unicorns. For 7 million people, I'm sure this puts us into one of the, or even the top rank of the highest density of unicorns per capita in the world. And there are so many records, firsts, and achievements here of our ecosystem. Just let me spell out a few. And again, check out our white papers to find out more. SenseTime is one of the highest valued AI companies in the world. And we're thrilled to have Easter Wong from SenseTime with us later on the panel. One of our fintechs still holds the record of the highest Series A in fintech raised with over 150 million. 2019 indeed was a strong year for fintech, and that's why a lot of people talk about fintech here in Hong Kong, with 8 virtual banking licenses have been granted, 1 to WHub, another homegrown fintech unicorn you will see on our panel later on. It was also the year where several virtual insurance licenses have been given out. And it has been the year where AngelHub has gotten the first SFC crowdfunding license. Local and international accelerators have chosen Hong Kong as their headquarter and first launch pad. For example, Zeroth AI, the very first AI accelerator in the world. Or Helix, the very first Hashgraph, which is a blockchain technology accelerator here in the world. But you know what? You cannot talk about Hong Kong without talking about its people. To quote Simon Sinek, there is no separation between business and people. Business is all about people. And let me make a little parenthesis here one more time to talk about Simon. So Simon tells us that people do not believe in what you do. They believe in why you do it. And it's this passion, this mission, this crusade that we also believe is the most important asset entrepreneurs have to attract any type of resources, be it talent, be it investors, be it customers, clients, media, and so on. So thanks to Simon, that's actually why at WHub we start with why, and that's why WHub starts with W. Unfortunately, Simon cannot be with us this year, but we trust we have him with us next year. So back to the people here. The people in Hong Kong are so welcoming, diverse. It's a true hub where East meets West. We say networking is in the DNA of any Hong Konger. Diverse, hardworking, welcoming, and resilient. 1/3 of founders in this ecosystem, even 1/3 of unicorn founders in this ecosystem, were not born here in Hong Kong. And this huge diversity truly holds true for the ecosystem at large. If there's one word to describe Hong Kong's ecosystem, it's diversity. Be it the age, the nationality of founders and teams, the gender, the industries the teams are disrupting. So of course, we have fintech, we have health tech, IoT, smart city, but so much more, and things like travel tech, textile tech, food tech, edu tech, prop tech are all sectors that are striving here. And finally, very diverse from the various background of the community builders here in Hong Kong, be it private or public organizations, including government organizations, incumbents, big, large corporates, and startups, non-for-profit, for-profit. Everybody here in this ecosystem pulls together, be united behind this mission on changing the world we live in. The diversity, by the way, of this ecosystem is truly reflected by the organizers of this week-long Start Me Up Hong Kong festival. To start with, once again, Invest Hong Kong and the Start Me Up Hong Kong team as the festival organizers. But even yesterday, Anson at KPMG kicked it off with Connected Cities. Then we have Connected Retail by Bailey's. We have our Jumpstart magazine, kicking off, Jumpstarted tomorrow. We have also the Mills Fabrica with their ecosystem summit, and Sina Finance to kick off their Sina Financial Awards. So with this also, once again, you see a huge diversity at SIS in our participants, be it in the speakers and contributors and the attendees. We're thrilled to have early stage startups all the way to unicorns, speakers from the World Economic Forum, UN, UNDP, to small accelerators and young teams. For-profit, non-for-profit, private, government, developing countries, etc. We have them all with us. Showcasing the best of Asia, but also showcasing and making bridges to the amazing ecosystems around the world is important. So we will not only talk about Hong Kong and Asia, we will also invite ecosystems from around the world to showcase the best that we have. Because seriously, it's not either or. it's only together. Startups are meant to go global, and it's by building these bridges that we're going to change the future together. So come and join us. As the festival theme suggests, the question is, what's next? Now is the time to define what's next and make it happen. So before I leave you here, I want to make sure that I introduce my amazing MC for main stage over these 2 days. We could not have gotten the support for any better than our MC, Mr. Walter Jennings.
Hey, good.
A huge hand of applause.
Good morning, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you over the course of the next 2 days. So I'm with Asia Insight Circle, and I'm very pleased to be here.
Okay, great. And you know what? I was not sure how long you actually would take to come on stage, because I had the most important thing still to do. But stay with me. You can do that. You know what
Karena,
this is,
we
right?
actually have a suggestion that we've got a fireside chat with you and me in a few minutes. So why don't we save that for then?
Oh my God, we'll do that. But one last shout out. And that's truly dear to not only my heart, but also Karen's heart. I know that. It goes to our amazing team. We said it's never possible without the people. We have been truly humbled and honored to work with the most amazing and diverse team here. Team WHub and AngelHub, you are awesome. Thank you so much. Should we move on to fireside?
Let's do that in a moment, just after this next video.
Hi, I'm Karena, co-founder of WHub. And right now, we're passionately organizing our annual conference, Startup Impact Summit, which is all about showcasing impact and creating impact for the global startup and tech community. Last year, we held an offline conference. However, this year, to continue our phenomenal momentum and connect the world, we're going completely online. In these strange times, technology is revolutionizing the way we live, work, and meet, now more than ever. Our team is working remotely to bring you curated content through inspiring speakers, eager investors, diverse startups, networking and job opportunities, and much more. Isn't that right, Felix?
Totally, you'll be able to join us from all over the world, get connected with the community, upskill yourself in a completely redefined conferencing experience. So make sure you meet us, connect with the global startup ecosystem.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Walter Jennings. I'm your MC on the main stage for today and tomorrow at Startup Impact Summit 2020. We're very excited to be here. What I wanted to do is just help everyone unpack what is a quite complex event. If you have been online, you will have seen the agenda covers pages, and there are over 200 speakers, and there are 6 different stages. So it's a little bit of a challenge. So Karena, what I wanted to do is first off by congratulating you and the team for at least organizing so far a great and very complex event. Tell me a little bit about the thinking behind the whole event. What's your goal for the next 2 days?
Great. So you already counted 6 stages. Amazing, actually. Well, arguably, you know, the event was in the planning for a whole year. So I'm not surprised that it actually became that big. And as we said, for us, it was really the opportunity to turn a crisis into an opportunity to bring the conference online. And we realized, oh my God, with this, we can make it so much bigger, so much more impactful, right? And I mean, for a conference that is called Startup Impact Summit, what better than, you know, having this dream of creating even more impact. And I think one of the things that I really want to highlight was the fact that we said, you know, that there are basically, you know, now there's an opportunity to redefine conferencing for the next decade, because, you know, maybe more of these events are now going to take place online.
Well, I think we'll probably in the future wind up with some form of blended event. I recall vividly last year's event over at the Wan Chai Convention Center here in Hong Kong, and the noise from the numerous stages and trying to focus on what was happening at the pitching competition while you're hearing the speakers on the main stage. So walk me through what's the goal. So clearly the main stage will have the primary speakers, but then we move on to the venture stage. Tell me a bit about that one.
Yes, I'm going to talk about the venture stage in a second. I just want to build on what you just said, right? I mean, there's no good tech conference without building FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. So that's what you said. So last year you walked into the convention center and you had tons of things going on, but you had to decide. Now, this year, the fact that it's online, if you have several devices, you can multitask, right? You can apply for a job all the way by listening, for example, my amazing co-founder Karena having a fireside chat with Tim Draper, and then at the same time, just ordering, some food or, get connected with some of the startups. So just the opportunities that, a virtual conference opens are tremendous. Now, venture stage, I'm going to answer your question. I'm not going to.
Thank you very much for coming back and answering the question.
You knew I would be out of control. But yeah, so venture stage. So I think for venture stage for us, what was really important is throughout the life cycle of startups, from really early, seed funding all the way to unicorn stages or even IPO, trying to highlight and give people an understanding of that journey. And not only in terms of different stages, but also in terms of different industries. So you will have talks that would talk about, for example, the crossover between art and tech, where we have, Christie's and startups that are, operating in the blockchain.
Look, you're covering food,
I was going to say food tech.
Yes. Finance for Muslims, so many different diverse areas in the venture stage.
Absolutely. And then once again, all the way from, early seed, all the way up to IPO and exit. And once again, important also a huge focus on impact investing. Right. Is it a myth? Is it a truth? What are the opportunities?
Okay, well, that's a great segue over to the third stage. We've got the main stage, we've got the venture stage, we've got a growth impact stage. What's the emphasis there?
Yes, so growth impact stage was really highlighting once again, resources that startups can tap into or, things that startups are leveraging to create more impact and to grow. Okay, so we have, for example, things about content marketing, SEO. We also have, highlights. For example, I talked about Waverly, right, from Polsky joining in and helping to understand how startups can overcome the traction gap issue. So yeah, there are tons of amazing talks to understand, how to further drive impact and growth for your startup.
Hey, just a side question, because I'm here on the main stage and I just heard a lot of things on growth impact stage I'd like to see. Are these going to be recorded? Will attendees be able to look back at them later if they're missing one stage? And I mean, you talk about FOMO, and I can't have 4 devices playing at once.
Yeah, so we definitely want you to have FOMO, right? But so 2 things actually. First of all, we stage the stages in terms of starting time of the talks a little bit differently. So you can, tune in into a talk that starts by the hour on main stage, and then maybe if you got the gist out of the talk, you quickly, hop over to venture stage that is a quarter exactly, or then growth impact half past the hour. That's one thing. The other thing is yes, a lot of the everything is recorded and will be made available online, particularly to our, premium ticket holders. They will be able to access all of the talks afterwards.
One thing I've done is I've really gone through each of the schedules and set up a day worth of watching so you know what you don't want to miss out on. And the other thing is all of the speakers, most of the speakers will be available for questions and chats right after they finish. So you want to catch these things live. You really do, because then that's a great way to engage with the speaker.
Yes, exactly. We talked about all the amazing support from our partners, but once again, even from the speakers who said, you know what, you got this amazing conference app, running on Lark. I'll just be in the main stage channel on Lark, and I'll just stay there if the audience has, questions even after my talk. So make sure, some of the speakers will be available for much longer. So we call it become intimate with the speakers.
Well, why don't you try it now and make sure if you have questions for Karena or me, let us know in the chat function. We'll make sure we get back to you, and we'll be plugging in and online pretty much 24/7 for the next 2 days. So now we've got a fourth stage, which is International and Greater Bay Area. So unpack that one for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned, it's obviously showcasing here our own ecosystem, but also showcasing amazing ecosystems from around the world. And once again, our partners were brilliant. So we have an ecosystem panel from the UK. We have several ecosystem panels from Germany, from the Philippines, from Thailand, from India. So, I mean, tons and tons and tons of really opportunities for everybody to bring the best of their ecosystem to the conference. Now, it's international and GBA, the Greater Bay Area. So I talked slightly about what actually is the Greater Bay Area, right? We have our own Bay Area here. And I always say for those people who are tuning in right now, more from the West, just imagine if you can put Silicon Valley, Las Vegas, and New York into one ecosystem. This is what the Greater Bay Area is. So you have Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Macau, and then 8 other cities in the Guangdong area.
I think in total there's some 60 million people that are
70 million, I think, yeah. So sorry, you know, my co-founder is French, my husband is French. Sorry, France, you know, we're already bigger than France, right? And what is really truly amazing, if you look at it, this region, you know, has already, I mean, the entrepreneurs in this region have already leveraged the opportunities before even more infrastructure will be put in place, because this region has already given birth to over 45 unicorns, right? That's more than India. And so this Bay Area is really, when we talk about what's next, a huge opportunity when we have more, you know, connectivity and free flow of capital, data,
and there's
talent.
such incredible diversity between the areas. Here in Hong Kong, we've got a brilliant startup and fintech culture. I worked for 3 years at Huawei in Shenzhen, and that's really home of the makers and an unparalleled supply chain anywhere in the world. And then you go over to Zhuhai and Macau, and each have their own unique cultures, but opened up and operating together. It's really an unparalleled combination that's unlike anywhere else in the world.
I mean, just let's talk a little bit about Shenzhen, right? You talked about Huawei, Tencent, right? The amazing, ecosystem of Tencent. DJI, right? DJI is probably, I always say, the only example where a consumer products company, where the market leader is Chinese, right? This is a beautiful story because Frank developed his flight motors at HKUST, here at one of our universities, and then brought the company to Shenzhen and scaled it to that, amazing company it is right now.
Okay, now on the 6th stage, there is a DJI in waiting. That's our pitching stage. Tell me about some of the startups that you've recruited into this and what we can expect over the coming 2 days.
Yeah, so once again, that's super thrilling because we do not only have local startups, but we really reached out under this umbrella of tech for good, of having startups from so many different places, call in developed and developing countries. So, some people are calling in from Nepal, from Myanmar, from India, from Jakarta, so Indonesia, Thailand, then, also from Europe. So again, it's just really heartwarming to see like how diverse the startups are that are pitching on that stage.
It's really a benefit of having gone virtual because then you're getting greater access to more people in more countries. I know the United Nations is playing a big role, and the last stage is innovation and SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals. These are the United Nations mandates to clean up many aspects of the world and society. But by having a virtual conference, we're going to be able to reach people in developing countries and corners of the world that may never make it to Wan Chai Convention Center. So tell us what you're looking forward to at the Innovation and SDG stage.
Yes, and actually, when we planned this, we originally planned this as a stage, but then we figured that, again, to actually make impact and create impact, we transformed that into a workshop area. Okay, so what you will see there, once again, are really practical tools and resources that startup can leverage. So we will have an amazing talk about scaling your business throughout the different stages. We have a very interesting, investor masterclass there, again, just to make sure that we not only help startups to better navigate that daunting process of fundraising, but also investors, to better understand how to assess startups as a very distinct asset class. And we also have, for example, a talk about setting up employee share option plans. So it's very, very practical. And that is the stage where we also run mini hack. So you heard, with Anne together, we talked about the 36 online hackathon for student and innovators and startups. And then we have Mini Hack, which is a hackathon, a mini hack for more established companies that already have, running products and services, and they will adapt it and tweak it to a very specific problem statement to once again win a proof of concept, the POC opportunity, and to bring it to the next level.
So, those are the 6 stages, but I feel like that knife salesman on late night television, that's not all. We also have some virtual exhibitions, including a jobs fair, a startup village, an industry village. Conceptually, I'm a little lost here. Can you walk me through what is, say, an industry village?
Yes, absolutely. And again, just to give you a little bit the framework and the why behind this, right? So again, as WHub, we act as a power connector, really helping startups connect to all the resources they need to grow and scale their business. So talent is another one, right? And so that's why, for example, in the job fair, you get the opportunity, to find the best and hire the best talent for your team. And then in the services marketplace, it's a place where you can connect with service provider. I talked about, Xero and Stripe, but also so many startups are providing services to other startups in the B2B space and making sure we really connect them.
Well, in Wanchai last year, when we had the convention center, you were able to walk around and see the different sponsors and booths and get to know their products. So you're telling me this is a virtual walk around?
Absolutely. And so coming then again to your question, I'm not ignoring your question about the industry village, right? Then again, giving startups the opportunity to showcase and pitch their solutions to everybody, any potential stakeholder who could be interested, again, in a win-win collaboration or business opportunity. So arguably, again, saying that 365 days throughout the year, WHub is acting as this, power connector. And we said during this conference, we just pack these 365 days into 2 days and make sure, we really boost and accelerate everybody involved in the conference.
Karena, you mentioned that this was supposed to be held in person in March, and a lot has happened in this world this year. What have been some of the lessons you've learned about planning, going from a physical event to a virtual event? What have been some of the surprises and challenges?
Yeah, so I think, as I mentioned at the beginning, arguably isn't, crisis or, problems, the world in which startups thrive the best. So, once again, a huge shout out to the team because, when I said with Startup Impact Summit, we pack 365 days, what we do during the year into 2 days, I did not know how true I would be because we were organizing this conference for 365 days finally, and we pack everything into 2 days, right? But what I learned is, again, it's problem, solution, and always trying to understand what are the opportunities that technology provides us to solve the problems that we have in a much better way. Technology is just a tool, right? It's not a solution in itself. But as I mentioned, for us, the fact that once we realized it's not going to happen offline, well, it means, speakers who may potentially not could have traveled physically, well, they can still tune in, even arguably in their PJs, you know, from their living room. The fact that now we can stream, you know, 24/7. And sorry again to all my friends in Europe and in the US. I know I got some messages like, Karena, are you crazy packing these great talks in the morning? I have to get up at 4 o'clock now to watch and be online. But again, so for us, an opportunity really to have a much bigger audience. As I mentioned as well already, it's, you know, you don't have to scan 200, 500 business cards now after the conference. You are already connected over lot with the people. You can exchange, you know, email addresses. You are already in full contact. And I mean, the list goes on. So once we realized, you know, this is again a great opportunity to make even more impact, we started to shift gear and, you know, went back into execution mode.
Yeah, no, and you are bringing together a number of different technologies to be able to have 5, 6 stages to hackathon, the virtual fairs. I will, in advance, apologize if there are ever any technical failures, but that is the life of a startup. You face a challenge, you surmount it, and you keep moving. So, what are the highlights for you? What are the 2 or 3 kind of shining stars that you're personally looking forward to over the coming few days?
Oh, wow. That's actually a very, very unfair question because I'm gonna name some, and all the ones I don't name, you know, they all truly, really are, you know, meant to be put on stage. I think actually really the one thing that I would start off is the startups. Again, in everything we do, our hashtag is Startup Passion. It's the fact that when we went live with Lark already yesterday to onboard everybody, and you had startups tuning in from Brazil, from European, from Asia, all around Asia, and saying, hi, I'm Dave. I'm working on a blockchain technology in the food sector. Hi there, is anybody out there and happy to connect? I mean, this is truly when our hearts shine and sing, because that's what we're here to do. But I'm also, once again, really, really, truly honored to have the support from all our ecosystem partners, as I said, you know, showcasing the different ecosystems and some of our loyal speakers. So I was really thankful when Jason said, you know, originally when it was a physical event, was not sure if you could come over. He said, oh, okay, I'm going to call back in. And I'm really looking forward for him to tell me what happened, you know, since this more than a year now when he joined us here in Hong Kong. But we have, you know, amazing startups also, obviously from Hong Kong, on our stages. We'll talk about success case. And then I just want to say it's not only about unicorns, right? So it's really about startups across all stages. But I think it's great that the unicorns are coming back and giving back to the community about sharing their story from Hong Kong, from India. You know, we have Policy Bazaar, Gojek, Soonicorns, you know, with Carousel. So a lot of really giving back to the community, to the ecosystem from our successful examples. I have like so many talks that are, you know, rushing through my mind. We probably don't have time to mention them all.
No, that's great that there are so many that you can't choose a few. But I like your advice. If you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur in a small team, this is your opportunity to reach out and engage. We've got over 200 great speakers. We have a number of stages. Everyone will be providing their virtual contact details. So it's up to you really to scan through the multiple stages, the multiple events, and find the sessions and the speakers that are going to help you drive your business forward and make those connections, because that's where the magic happens. You can have the great ideas, but until you're able to bring it out into a broader community, that's when it really has the opportunity to shine.
Absolutely. And therefore, I think one of the things that I want to stress is the hackathon, right? So Hack Asia is a brilliant example. To your point, you talked about solo entrepreneurs. So we have 2 different challenges. So one challenge stream, we have 10 different challenges, but one challenge stream is for startups. And the other one is for students and solo innovators who are starting off now just with an idea in their mind. And you will see in 36 hours, they're going to present a running prototype to you. So there are you building a company in 36 hours. So I'm really thrilled that we are running this in parallel. You know, Hack Asia is actually, well, an integral partner of Startup Impact Summit.
Well, Karena, really wonderful speaking with you. You've unpacked a very complicated few days. We're going to be running live here in Hong Kong from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Today and tomorrow. I have no idea what time zone you're in right now, but please do check back. Here on the main stage, we'll be coming back after a short break with Envision Entrepreneurship in the next 10 years, Global and Hong Kong Sustainable Development Goal Priorities, and that's bound to be an exceptional talk, and I'll see you online after the next talk. Thank you, and thank you so much.
And thank you, Walter. Thank you for being our amazing MC.
See you.